We are live. We are live. Welcome to college football's peak around the corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do us well, please subscribe to our channel. Smash the like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and friends. Do not forget to ring the notification bell. We can come on live at any time, morning, day, or night. So you got to remember to ring the notification bell if you want to support this independent, this true independent national college football's rebel outpost with a donation. Help us keep the lights on and grow the channel. Just hit that dollar sign where you make a comment, and I will get these super chat as quick as I possibly can. Welcome, come on in. Welcome, come on in to the studio that sits on the corner, the very corner of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to become a legend with your comments and with your phone calls. I hope you're having a beautiful July 10th, Friday, July 10th. I am very humbled that you would want to spend any time chopping it up with us, talking college football here at college football's peak around the corner, PATC. We got another update from the Money Perch. We got the update a couple of days ago, 2 days ago. I made mention yesterday and the day before that we had something, a couple of stories that we had to see what we could do with them, and I can present the information, most of it, that was given to us by the Florida State Money Perch. And I'm not going to go into his past. You can take this. I'm not going to go through all that again. You can take this information however you want to take it. It is quite nuanced. And we're not... Last time we read major parts of the email verbatim. We're not going to be able to do that this time. I'm going to have to give you the bullet points because how the email is written. There is too many spots where I'm not going to be able to read it. There's too many names involved. So what I have decided is I'm going to give you the bullet points of this email. And the bullet points, there's not many, but there is some nuance to it. The major one is this. Again, this is all from the Florida State perception of where things are today. The Money Perch would know what the Florida State perception is. And he's got a long history of giving us the heads up before something occurs. And we're going to get back into this at the back half of the monologue. And our monologue today is not all that much. We're going to open up the phone lines. We'll let you guys talk college football, whatever you want to talk about. We do have a spotlight on the James Madison Dukes. So we're going to do that. But I'll just give you a little bit of a taste of what we're going to talk about. There is a perception, well, not just a perception. When it comes to Florida State, the Money Perch is now believes, because he's been told, that there is not going to be this emergency meeting if and when the Senate vote gets scheduled. The last update, he said they were going to do it. They believe other ACC schools were going to do it, but not anymore. He was told that there was not going to be a need for that. There is a however to all of this, and we'll get to the however later on. The no emergency meeting, now they believe they're not going to have to do it. Other schools are not going to have to do it because the short-term threat, the near-term threat of the Cruz and Cantwell bill doesn't really exist anymore. Florida State and others, and this is really important, there has been, and we've always talked about it, there has been communication between representatives of these schools with each other. And that seems that has picked up. We'll go into more of that later. But there is this belief that Florida State, most definitely, and other schools, there's not going to be the need of the emergency meetings because their perception is that that bill is not going to pass the House. There is no chance unless there is major concessions towards the Big Ten and the SEC. The bill's not going to pass the House. Now, again, when we get this type of information, when we get all this email, we just don't sit on it. We push back, we ask questions, we poke and prod. And of course, one of the questions that I wanted poked and prod is, how does Florida State or anybody else know that this bill will not get attached to some other big spending bill that needs to pass, some emergency military spend, whatever that is? How do you definitely know that it's not going to pass? Well, the answer was, well, we don't definitely know, but it's not like it was a few weeks ago. There does seem to be a lot of movement with possible concessions to the bill because it's just not going to pass the House. One of the key aspects to this update, one of the reasons why I'm not able to read this email I can't even come close. I cannot read the email. The main reason for that is there has been updates, communications between representatives of Florida State and the governor, the office of the governor in the state of Florida. And there seems to be a perception from Florida State that for whatever reason, the current governor of the state of Florida is going to do all that he can and more to get this bill passed to the point where communication has flowed back from the governor to representatives from the Florida State that if it takes some concessions, well, we'll probably do it. The governor, Ron DeSantis, is heavily involved in this bill. And the governor really wants this bill to be passed. And Florida State does not want this bill to be passed the way it is. So there does seem to be some wink, wink, nod, nod. You'll be all right. We'll get this passed. But this is not going to stop you, Florida State and other schools, in possible movement to get to the P2. There has been some communications. There is a lot of, there's been a lot of politics going on. So Florida State, because of the communication with the governor's office, believes that this bill isn't going to pass without major concessions. So now the Florida money Perch has not used. We're going to keep calling it the quick strike here at Peek Around the Corner, even though that's not in its emails. The quick strike. The threat of the quick strike has diminished. The sped up of further Southeastern Conference and Big Ten expansion has diminished. As we have reported, the Big Ten would rather not do it right now. They'd rather not do it right now. But they're prepared. They're trying to get themselves prepared, so is the SEC and other schools. But there is a however to all of this. There is a huge however to all of this. while there does seem to be the perception that the quick strike, there is a diminishing chance of that happening. Although we reported that everyone was getting prepared, we also reported that the Big Ten would rather not do this at this time. The breakaway threat, the SEC going its own way. The breakaway threat where the SEC goes its own way and does it in the extreme silo, that threat is growing. It is growing on a number of levels. And because of that, these two things can be true at the same time. The Florida State money perch. Florida State's perception is the following. And we'll get into it in the back half of the monologue. While the sped up timetable, the itchy finger, there is a diminishing chance that someone's going to pull the trigger on a quick strike. There is also the growing possibility of large expansion scoops in play. Maybe a little bit larger than we anticipated. So we are going to go through all of that. I've got the bullet points. I've got it here. And again, I'm not going to be able to read the email verbatim. That's going to be an impossibility. But we're going to give you as much information as possible in this live show. I want to welcome everybody in. Let's go through the roll call. Lego Gators is in the house. Al Woody, the Almighty. We got the Arkansas Razorback, Nick Kelso, Willie Bortner, LSU Tiger, Ryan Brooks. The Florida State Seminole, Daniel Gorby. We got John Charette. We got Edward the Auburn Tiger. We got Caleb Ramirez, Mr. Buckeye. Manic Reactions. Go Hawkeyes. Boo. Boo. Thanks for coming on in, Manic Reactions. T-Duck is in the house. Old Army is here. The Gator, the Pirate Gator Maynard is in the house. Three Fingers, Super League coming. I don't think a Super League's coming. Super conferences, separate super conferences, yes. Super League, I don't think so. Jimmy Austin is in the house. I haven't seen Jimmy in a while. Thanks for coming on in, Mr. Duck. I appreciate it. Frank Patat, Florida State to the Big 12. Frank Potter is in the house. Arn Kriegbaum is here. Thanks for coming on in. The Notorious Sun Devil. Why is this so small? What is going on here? My goodness. I really don't know what I'm doing, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't figured that out yet. Anthony Carlson is in the house. The Sparty, Mama Duck Clemson Tiger. Hello, everyone. We got Greg Travel Vlogs. Florida State stays in the ACC. We got the California Golden Bears. Hiya, PATC. Go Bears. We got Chef Maul. It was the Dukes. Billy Ray Valentine voice. I don't know what that is. Let's see. Who else has made it in on this beautiful Friday, July 10th? MBM Oklahoma State Cowboy is here. Jared Jones. The notorious one. Christopher Hooter. Humble Bumble Duck is in the house. Thanks for coming on in, Humble Bumble Duck. Appreciate you coming on in. Love it. Haven't seen Humble Bumble in a while. Base Juron is here. Runs with Scissors. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Who else has made it in? Charlie Atwood. Army of 20 or something. Thanks for coming on in, Charlie. I appreciate it. Jay Chapman is here. Thanks for coming on in, Jay. Mohr Simmons, the Seminole. is in the house. We've got Eric Phipps. Yo! Thanks for coming on in. D. Wayne is here. Chase Davis. Thanks for coming on in, Chase. Appreciate it. Daryl CRH is in the house. And we got the Evil Badger Super Chat starting us off today. Thank you so much to Ryan Willie. Holy smokes, Ryan. Holy smokes. $5 holler on Wisconsin. I do declare that Wisconsin will be ranked at the end of the session, at the end of the season. Okay. What do I do here? Is that a 4 or is that a 5? Is that a 4 or is that a 5? That's a 5. That's an absolute 5. There is no way that's going to happen, Evil Badger, especially when the Gophers defeat the Badgers. Let me put this in right here. Wisconsin ranked end of season Willie, and that's going to be a 5-point valuation. There is no way that is going to happen. But congratulations, Evil Badger. You've got another one in the book. Our I Do Declare World Championship. We've got 104 predictions. 104. It started with OPD Don, Ryan Willie, Elena Ted, Brooks, Jacoby Cat, RT. Look at all these predictions. I do declare. Look at the valuation points. 1 through 5. The winner at the end of the championship game, who's ever got the most points, it's got to be, or who's ever got the best points. I mean, a lot of you are going to be minus 15, minus 25. Maybe a couple of you are going to be above 0 with these bold predictions. We shall see. But these are the I Do Declares that we've got in the books. 104 of them. Wow. It's going to be fun following these I Do Declares during the season. It's going to be an absolute blast. Thanks for those who have participated thus far. The last time you can put an I Do Declare in the books is before kickoff of August 29th, the very first games that are played on Saturday, August 29th. And by the way, I've already talked to the little general. We're going to be doing a lot of watch parties on August 29th. So buckle up, brace for impact. Can't wait for college football to begin. Thank you, Eva Badger. I appreciate it. I appreciate it very, very much. Smile Time is in the house. If I missed anybody, I apologize. Amy's here. Thanks for coming on in. Appreciate it. Amy is in the house. All right. Again, you know how it works. When we go to the phones, you can give us a call the back half of the after the When you give us a call at 763-260-1333, the floor is yours. You can talk about anything in college football that your heart desires. If you want to talk about how great the Golden Gophers are going to be this year, if you want to talk about how the Golden Gophers have been disrespected by ESPN, Power Football Index once again, go ahead, give us a call, 763-260-1333. If you want to call in and talk about how the Golden Gophers are going to whoop up on the Wisconsin Badgers, how the Golden Gophers are finally going to take the pig, the Rosedale pig, back home with us, finally, once again, give us a call. Or if you want to have the floor, give us a super chat. We'll read your super chat no matter what it's about. And then the other comments we'll pick them depending on how interesting I think they are, how relevant they are to the subjects that we're talking about. Let's get to it. We've got another spotlight ready to go. Remember, on July 7th, we begun the PATC G6 Spotlight. We did the Boise State Broncos. We did the UNLV Rebels. We did the Memphis Tigers. Today we take on the James Madison Dukes, who went to the playoffs last year. The premier football program right now in the Sun Belt Conference. Can they repeat it? Can they win the Sun Belt? Can they get back to the college football playoffs? Let's take a look. Again, we've already done, look at the date if you missed it. Your favorite team. We've already done a spotlight on all 68 Power 4 programs. So if you missed it, go check out the date that is listed on the left side and go check out the live show. We have spent a lot of time talking college football on this college football YouTube channel during the off season. All right, let's get in the spotlight. Put the spotlight on James Madison. Can they do it again? Can James Madison do it again? Lego Gators in the chat. Sun Belt Billy back where he shines. That is true. And Billy Napier's got a lot of work to do here. This James Madison, once again, lost a ton of talent. Just take a look at the quarterback position. Arrington Maiden. He's been there for 2 years. He hasn't played, or he barely played. A couple of plays. 59-yard passing in 2 years. He's in a quarterback battle. Arrington Maiden. Now, they did go to the portal. And they did pick up somebody very interesting. Richmond Spiders, Camden Coleman. Now, his 2024 stats, over 2,000 yards, 64.3 completion percentage, 14 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, a very healthy and productive 147.3 quarterback rating. In 2023, he even had a better year. So Camden Coleman, at a lower level, no question about it, at a lower level, FCS, mighty productive, had success, won football games, very accurate passer in FCS. Can he be the quarterback? Can he take over QB1? James Madison Dukes, Billy Napier. He might end up being the guy. Again, Arrington Maiden, who's been there for 2 years when Billy Napier wasn't the guy, wasn't the coach, or the guy that they brought in, Camden Coleman. Probably going to be, we'll find out. But I would not be surprised if it's Mr. Coleman that begins the year. George Pettaway. His career stats, over 1,200 yards rushing. Very healthy, productive, 5.9 average per rush. RB1 going in this year at James Madison. 39 receptions, 288 yards receiving, 7.4 average per reception, 3 receiving touchdowns. George Pettaway, he's primed. He's definitely going to be RB1 for James Madison. So whoever the quarterback is, Maiden or Coleman, they're going to have a veteran behind him. George Pettaway. wide receiver. Braden Wisłowski was coming on at the end of the year last year. Now, James Madison lost a lot of players, production in their wide receiver room, but they're keeping Braden Wisłowski. He's going to be our WR1. 2025 stats, 26 receptions, 358 yards receiving, 13.8 average reception, 4 receiving touchdowns. Braden Wisłowski. He's going to be the favorite target of Maiden or Coleman. So again, you got Petaway coming back. You got Wisłowski coming back. You do have some production coming back. And then you've got defensive lineman Mohr Thomas. 2025 stats. He's coming back this year. And they believe he was just finally scratching the surface last year. Mohr Thomas has been at James Madison for multiple years. He's an upperclassman. 2 interceptions last year. 2.5 sacks. 6.5 tackle for losses. 43 combination tackles, 13 of them being solo. They believe that Mohr Thomas could be the superstar on the defensive line in the Sun Belt Conference for the defending, reigning Sun Belt Conference champions, the James Madison Dukes. Now, if you take a look at the schedule, they begin right off the bat, Conference USA, Liberty Flames. At home, September 9th, 11 a.m., Liberty, James Madison. Now, I do not have Liberty in our spotlight calendar. I got somebody else coming out of that conference this year. But that, again, we'll see if James Madison can beat Liberty at home. They should be able to. Then they've got the big game on the road, September 19th at San Diego State. At San Diego State. That's the big one. If they can pull off the upset. San Diego State, I have San Diego State as the second best team in the Pac-12. I think they're going to go to the Pac-12 championship game. So if James Madison can pull the upset there, then they may be well on their way to being the G6 representative again. I don't think they're going to get by the Aztecs. At Old Dominion. Old Dominion is getting a lot of love, and I don't know why. I have chose not to put Old Dominion out of the spotlight. They lost Colton Joseph, the quarterback of now the evil Wisconsin Badgers. A hell of a player at Old Dominion. I don't know why Old Dominion is getting all this love, but they are. So I guess that might be a big game, especially if James Madison can defeat the Aztecs and the Flames. Marshall, and then they go on and look at Troy game on October 29th. Could be the decider. Troy and James Madison are in different separate divisions. They could be meeting up in the championship game, but Troy is the other Sun Belt favorite. And look at that game against Connecticut. That could be an important game at UConn on November 14th. So the schedule is challenging. The schedule is challenging for the James Dukes. Now, James Madison Dukes. Again, I got to be honest with you. When we're going to the spotlight, when we did Boise State, when we did our way too early predictions for the playoffs, I got Boise State as the 12th seed. I don't think Boise State's getting back. I don't think they're going to make it this year. They have too tough of a schedule. They're going to lose 2 or 3 games. At least. UNLV looks promising. Memphis, not so much. James Madison, I don't think they're going to get there either. So far, I've got UNLV as number 1 in the G6 Spotlight Series calendar. UNLV, Dan Mullen. Right now, but again, we're going to go through East Carolina. That is tomorrow. We're going to go South Florida, North Dakota State, Western Michigan, Ohio, Navy, San Diego State, and yes, Delaware. I think Delaware is going to score 1,000,000 points this year. I think they're going to give up 1,000,000 points this year. So we'll talk about Delaware at the end of the Spotlight Series. So again, that has been your James Madison Spotlight. I don't think they're going to make it this year. I don't think it's happening. Let me know how wrong I got it once again. Let me know that I should be having James Madison at the top of the G6 pyramid, but I don't. Going to be a good team, going to be challenging for the Sun Belt Championship. James Madison and Troy, but I don't think James Madison gets through those games and becomes the G6 rep in the playoffs. That has been your PATC Spotlight on the James Madison Dukes. That is our 72nd team we have put under the PATC Spotlight during the off season. We got a very generous super chat from the one and only Michigan Wolverine, Curtis. Curtis, super chat, the college sports protection BS is what creates a smash capital super league BS. This act before Congress destroys college sports, period. Curtis is coming on in, swinging the big bat, making it known that he believes that all this college sports protection is something created by Smash Capital. If you missed it, go to our library of episodes. We did episode 512 that everybody can watch. Episode 512. I think I can show you the screenshot here. The snake hiding in the Big Ten's long grass. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. This was episode 512. Go check it out. It talks about how a Board of Regents member from the University of Maryland, in fact, we'll go through it right now. We'll go through it real quick. How about that? Thank you so much, Curtis. Thank you for the $10 holla. Thank you for your incredible generosity. I very much appreciate it. This is an incredible story. Thank you, Curtis. Again, there has been some comments underneath this video, which again, I love that you guys have done that. I love the fact that you guys put in comments after we get done with the video. There's been a couple of them saying, well, this Board of Regents member at Maryland, he's got a right to his own opinion. He's got a right to state his own position. And you're absolutely correct. And that is what we said during the episode. But there's a difference between having your opinion, your position, versus you're getting paid. You're getting paid. You're getting paid to push the position of sports capital, while at the same time going against your university. The university regent lobbying against his own school. He's trying to pass the PCSA, a campus he oversees, opposes it. Tom McMillan, Board of Regents at the University of Maryland. D5 Terp says, my man is bought. One of the biggest objections the Big Ten and SEC have with the Protect College Sports Act is a provision that would allow college football to pool its television rights. Proponents believe that it would double the revenue the sport earns from the current broadcast deals. Those two conferences disagree, the Big Ten and the SEC, so much that they joined forces to fight it. In February, the Big Ten and the SEC delivered a white paper to Congress that argued the lofty projections were bunk. When the new bill first hit the floor, they issued a joint statement opposing it. When concessions were proposed, the conferences stood firm. After the Protect College Sports Act passed committee this June, one of its authors, Senator Maria Cantwell, fired back at the Big Ten and the SEC. She said, athletic directors and presidents are going to get their comeuppance from regents who are all of a sudden saying, what the hell are you doing sending these letters opposing the bill? That Cantwell mentioned support from regents upset about letters seemed oddly specific, at least to me. Maybe I thought she was referring to the university regent who is being paid to lobby Congress by venture capital firm pushing to pass this legislation. Tom McMillan, University of Maryland. All while the president at the system's biggest campus, a Big Ten school, is signing letters to Congress opposing the bill. Smash Sports is an offshoot of the venture capital firm Smash Capital. In its short existence, it became the leading force behind the push to amend the Sports Broadcasting Act, which would allow college football to sell its television rights in one big package. And it's spending a lot of money to get its way. Since July 25th, the Big Ten has spent $520,000 on lobbying Congress. The SEC over that same time has spent $600,000 lobbying Congress. Smash Sports, they've dropped $750,000, but you wouldn't know that unless you knew where to look. According to the lobbying report, Smash Sports itself spent $220,000. It also paid two other firms an additional $170,000. When Smash Capital first pitched schools, it dubbed its master plan Project Rudy. Remember that? Through an LLC spun up for the Project Rudy OpCo, Smash gave another firm $200,000. It also hired a fourth firm, this one under its parent company, Smash Capital. And for $160,000, they got a lobbyist who just so happens to be the regent at the University of Maryland system, who, while working for Smash Capital, sat in a board meeting about Maryland's relationship with the Big Ten, and who also was recently embroiled in the Epstein scandal. My question, since I've done this episode, we've talked about it, did Tom McMillan recuse himself anytime the University of Maryland Board of Regents talked about the potential of a Super League and how the University of Maryland was going to support the Big Ten, how the University of Maryland was going to be against the Cruz-Cantwell bill, how the Big Ten was against the Rudy Project? Every time that the Maryland Board of Regents talked, did Tom McMillan disclose that he's a paid lobbyist for Smash Capital? Did he disclose that? Did he recuse himself from those discussions? Or did he stay silent on the subject? Those are my questions. I do not have answers for those questions. But a snake in the long grass of the Big Ten. But the bigger story is there is so much money being spent lobbying Congress. The SEC has spent a lot of money. We know that. The Big Ten has spent a lot of money. We know that. Smash Capital, Smash Sports, however you want to call it, third-party money, private equity that wants to come in and take at least partial ownership of all of college sports. They've been lobbying. Smash Capital did not do this. They did not fund the Project Rudy idea, the concept, and to push it. Smash Capital hasn't spent all this time knocking on the Buckeyes doors, the Wolverine doors, the Georgia Bulldogs doors. They're not doing all that because they're altruistic. They're not doing that because they want to just save us from ourselves. Smash Capital is doing that because they want ownership of it. They want to have their piece. They want to give everybody millions of dollars, then they want their piece of the ownership. They want control of the scheduling. They want control of forming the divisions. They want control of those prime time TV spots. They believe that everything is undervalued. They want to come in. So they have every right to spend their money. They have every right to lobby in Congress, just like the SEC, just like the Big Ten. But we got every right to have that transparency. We know the SEC spending money. They've got it documented. It's in their taxes. The Big Ten, we should know if a board of regents in Big Ten country is a paid lobbyist for Smash Capital. Well, we've learned it. We've learned it yesterday when this report came out. Very interesting. Cloak and dagger. I'm telling you, it's everywhere. It's everywhere when it comes to the next story that we're going to talk about, the Florida State money perch. Let's get into it. Florida State money perch update, no emergency meetings, but a breakaway threat is growing. Both of these things can be true at the same time, and they are true at the same time. As we have reported here at Peek Around the Corner, we reported about 10 days before the Ross Dellinger article came out saying that there has been elevated talks among all of these schools. The next realignment wave. We reported that about 10 days before that Ross Dellinger article came out. Thank God that Ross Dellinger article came out. It was a blessing. It was an absolute blessing. It confirmed our reporting. We knew our reporting was accurate, but it was important for a national reporter to finally venture into that. We also reported about a week later that the Big Ten doesn't really want to do this. They're prepared. Their candidate list, they know they got to get themselves prepared just in case they have to do the quick strike. Ross Dellinger used the word shot clock. That's his term. We're going to continue to use quick strike. But the Big Ten, they're prepared, but they really don't want to do it. They know that their leverage grows as time goes on with their current media partners. Overall, if the longer you wait, the more money, the better the advantage for the presidents and the commissioner, the institutions of that conference. It's just how it is. But it doesn't mean that the Big Ten is going to sit there and maybe it does, but you don't want to sit there and let the SEC have all the advantages and let them be the aggressor. But the Big Ten would rather this not happen right now. The Florida State Money Perch in his previous update told us all that they expected, and they've talked, money perches talked with other money perches from other universities. That's how we broke the USC story. That's how we broke the Notre Dame, the Big Ten hockey. That's how we broke a lot of stories. Money perches talk. They do. And it just so happens in this day and age of college sports, they have become more and more powerful. They become more and more the decision makers. It's just the way it is. Bad or good. Money perches talk. They don't have NDAs. Most of them don't. Some of them might, if they're the chairman of the board, for example, of a school. So that was the previous update. Thank you, Mohr. What a massive, massive, massive super chat. My goodness. Mohr After Dark, thank you so very much. We are I will get into that in a moment, Mohr. Thank you so very much. I'm going to finish up this, I'm setting the table here for the story that we're going to cover. So that was the previous update. The previous update was we and other schools are most likely going to set up emergency meetings when that Senate vote is scheduled. The update that we were given 2 days ago, and we're not going to be able to read it verbatim, but I do have the bullet points. We're going to go through them. There's not many. Some of it is nuanced. There was a lot of names in this email. A lot of people in politics names in this email. So we're not going to be able to read the email. But this update is about no emergency meetings are now expected. Because there's been communication allegedly, between the Florida State representatives, intermediaries between Florida State and those at the governor office at the state of Florida. And Ron DeSantis is a big supporter of the Protect College Sports Act. Florida State is not so much. Neither is the University of Florida Gainesville. UCF and USF are, UCF is Orlando people. I got a couple of names here. I can't... But anyway, it's a mixed bag in the state of Florida, but Florida State would rather not have this bill passed as written. Intermediaries from the governor's office have explained that they do not expect this bill to pass as written. The governor is a big supporter of it, but has acknowledged that the bill will not pass without major concessions to the Big Ten and the SEC, which is music to the Florida State's ears. In other words, Florida State believes that they have less to worry about right now. That they're not going to be caught in this ACC without any options. They don't believe if the bill that is written as it is not going to pass the House. And it is most likely not going to be attached to some big spending bill that has to be passed in the House. They don't think that the House leadership will allow that. They've been given a lot. There has been, in the last couple of weeks, there's been way more, while Congress is on vacation, recess, whatever you call it, there's been a lot of information given back to the conferences, the schools, and the leaders. Florida State is not they're not as concerned. And they don't believe anybody else is as concerned as they were. There is this feeling that the Big Ten, again, we have gotten this from more than the Florida State Money Perch. We've got this from chatter behind the curtain. The Big Ten would rather wait. I think that is permeated. I just think everyone would rather wait. So that's one aspect to it. If there is a vote scheduled in the House, we should not expect these emergency meetings to happen, because it is not believed this bill can pass as written. But again, everyone's prepared anyways, to a certain extent. They're going to have to need to have those meetings to go to the next level of this. But those emergency meetings are not expected. But there is a big, massive however. And I'm going to get to that however after we go to the incredible, massive super chat by the one and only Mohr After Dark. My goodness, holy smokes. Super chat, Mohr, Mr. Buckeye. Mohr After Dark. Tom McMillan is mentioned throughout the Epstein files and is photographed on occasion with Epstein. The University of Maryland student government voted requesting his resignation, and over 2,000 grad students as well. Also unredact every name in the Epstein files. Mohr is a very strong supporter of unredact every name in the Epstein files. Tom McMillan, a snake in the Big Ten long grass. Again, he can have any position that he wants to have in regards to the Protect the College Sports Act, the Rudy Project, but he cannot be a paid lobbyist. And, I mean, come on. Again, who else out there is a paid? How many shell companies does Smash Capital have? How many lobbyists are being paid to push this Rudy project, this Cruz and Cantwell bill? Again, there's nothing wrong with it as long as you're transparent. That's what we're saying. Big Ten and SEC, they're doing it. There's a lot of outside forces that want control of college football. They want to take it away from the Big Ten, ACC, Big 12. They want to take control. They want to be the guy in the seat. They want to flush us with millions, and then they want control. They want that prime time TV slots. Cody Campbell, Smash Capital. They're two different entities. They probably haven't worked together, but they want the same thing. They want control to be taken away from the conferences and schools and give it up to some sort of combination of big government and big private equity. Tom McMillan leading the way, it seems. Thank you so much, Mohr After Dark. Thank you for your incredible generosity. My goodness. My goodness. Thank you very much. We got a $5 holler. We haven't gotten to the meaty part of this story. So hold on. We haven't gotten to the meat. Hold on. MBM $5 holler. Greg, can you elaborate on the MOU memorandum of understanding that schools would sign in a quick strike scenario to join at a later date? Is it a legal procedure that will stand? I have no idea, MBM, but I do think if it happens, I think it's going to be transparent. Call me a schmuck, call me naive, but when a school announced that they're leaving, I think they're going to pay the bill, and then they're going to leave. Maybe not the next year, but the year after that. Like the president, like the Miami's president said, it could be like an Oklahoma-Texas situation. Not a traditional situation where you say you're going to leave and then you join the conference the following year, July 1st, the following calendar year. This could easily be, we're leaving, but we're not joining the next July 1st. We're joining the next July 1st after that. In fact, how the ACC exit hatch is written almost makes that happen automatically, almost, because if you're gonna file a notice of withdrawal from the ACC to join another conference on July 1st the following year, you've got to file a notice of withdrawal on or before June 1st of that particular year. But how much you owe to the ACC drops $18 million on July 1st, 30 days after on July 1st of that one particular year. So it almost behooves a school to wait after June 1st, wait a little bit after July 1st, do the notice of withdrawal, don't leave the next July 1st, but leave the next July 1st, 2 years, and then you're going to pay less, you're going to join the conference, much like what Texas and Oklahoma did. That is a long answer to not your question. I have no idea of the legal standing. Why would there be a problem with it? I don't know. I guess maybe there would be. But that seems to be the quick strike scenario. Look, if the quick strike scenario did happen, let's say it happened today. Let's say Florida State says we are going to file our notice of withdrawal today, July 10th. They're going to be, I think it's going to be at 147 million, right? Or maybe it's 129. I don't remember. But I think it's 147. I think it went from 165 to 147, or it's at 129. Whatever that number is. Let's pretend they filed the notice of withdrawal today. They're not joining the Southeastern Conference or the Big Ten July 1st on 2027. They're going to be joining the Big Ten or the SEC on July 1st, 2028. The scenario in which the University of Miami president has a suspicion might happen again. That scenario of Oklahoma and Texas. But I don't know anything about, I think that, look, the ACC exit hatch, the proceedings, as far as I remember, according to the settlement, is pretty clear. We know the money that we owe you. We give you that money. You have to accept the check, and then we're out the following July 1st or the July 1st after that, depending on if you filed the notice of withdrawal on or before June 1st of the particular year we're talking about. But that's the only way I can answer that, MBM. Hopefully I don't know anything about a legal procedure will stand. I think it will. But again, I only play a lawyer at PATC, and I do not play one good at all. But thank you, MBM. Thank you for the $5 holler. I do appreciate it. I do appreciate it. Spain advances. Who did Spain beat? Who did Spain beat? I don't remember who they were playing. I don't remember who they were playing. If somebody can remind me. If somebody, oh, they beat Belgium. Oh, wow. All right. I think it's going to be Argentina or France, right? Those are the chalk. Although I think Morocco has a very good team. Okay. Now let's go to the however. So, thank you, MBM. Thank you, Mohr After Dark. Thank you for your incredible generosity. Very humbled. Thank you very much. The however is, on one hand, the pressure of the quick strike, there seemed to be some more steam coming up. Less pressure for that to happen. Kind of an understanding, okay. Looks like no one's going to have the quick, itchy finger. Everybody knows, everybody has an understanding, that worldview understanding and realignment, that it's more advantageous for the Southeastern Conference to wait as long as they can, the Big Ten wait as long as they can, the conferences, the member institutions, it's more to their advantage. But if they have to, again, there's been a lot of positioning, there's been a lot of talking, nothing is imminent. If you don't believe anything that I'm saying, read Ross Dellinger's article on this. There's been elevated talks, the shot clock and all that stuff. Go back and read that article. It's all true. Or if you don't want to believe him, that's fine too. Although the quick strike seems less probable, and it was never the chalk, but it seems to have gone down in probability a little bit. The breakaway threat, a serious one, an extreme one, that threat has grown according to the Florida State money perch and what Florida State perceives what's going on. Mostly, that perception comes from the people that they've been mostly talking to as of late, and generally always, the money perches of the Southeastern Conference and some administrators and some localized chatter behind the curtain. Names that I'm not going to be able to give up. Ever. Lots of reasons why I cannot read this email verbatim. That's another reason. So, there is this belief from Florida State that the Southeastern Conference is more aligned than ever on doing a breakaway, where they're going to form their own rules, their own regulations, their own enforcement arm. They're going to form their own universe. And to do that, they're going to need more schools. They're going to need more schools that are aligned with the SEC. And the money perch has named the schools that Florida State believes, and again, we've done this before. But this is, again, I got to give you the update. I'm going to tell you, I'm able to say this part. This is not going to come as a shocker. But the Florida State Money Perch has listed the schools a couple of different times in a couple of different ways. I don't have to go through that today, of who they believe the SEC is targeting and would expand with in this breakaway, which they believe the breakaway is going to, he uses different language than I use, but this breakaway is going to be more severe than the other breakaway options. Because the Southeastern Conference, and I'm going to go ahead and use my own phrasing, is pissed. They're pissed at everybody. And they believe they're leaving money on the table all over the place. the schools that the SEC, the schools that the Florida State believes that is in the cocoon, he uses that phrase, of the SEC expansion. And I'm going to name these schools in no particular order. Do not, every time I name schools out, people examine what school I said first. I'm just going to read them how it was written. Clemson, Florida State, North Carolina, Virginia, Virginia Tech, and North Carolina State. Those 6 are what the SEC, Florida State, believes. Those 6 are the ones that the SEC would expand with. Now again, he wrote this in a way that we had to come back and ask some questions. Again, our question was, is the SEC, what Florida State's position? They believe they have some sort of perception coming from who? The money purchase from who? Do you think the Southeastern Conference is going to go from 16 to 22? And the money purchase basically said the following: if the Southeastern Conference have to, depending on the severity of their breakaway. In other words, the SEC is going to act on the severity of their breakaway. Are they going to break away from, are they going to put themselves in a position where they're going to tell the NCAA that we don't want to leave your NCAA basketball tournament, but if we have to, we're going to be fine. Well, we're going to be fine. We don't want to leave the NCAA baseball tournament, but if we have to, we're going to be fine. In other words, the Southeastern Conference is going to give themselves as much leverage as possible, and that entails the great possibility that they're going to blow the doors wide open, become as big as they economically possibly can through ESPN, and probably most likely a big streaming partner, which is probably most likely going to be Netflix. That's a whole nother story we're not going to get into today, unless you want to in a phone call or a super chat. So he's not saying, they don't believe it's necessarily going to go to 16 to 22. But according to the money purchase in SEC country that Florida State money purchase have been talking to, there is this real grassroots effort to say screw everybody and everything. Again, the Southeastern Conference, look, the Big Ten and the SEC might end up at the same place at the same time or a little bit different timing, but these two conferences work completely different from each other. They're in their own universes, universe as it is already. The SEC is so much more motivated. That's the reality. The Florida State money perch. And we are gonna say the following. The Florida State money perch, we got the go ahead. I'm not stepping on anybody's toes. I'm not burning any bridges. I've got the go ahead to say this. The Florida State money perch have been talking to Florida, University of Florida money purchase, and this is where they're getting their getting their information mostly. And this information is, there's also very active Georgia, some Georgia people, some very active Tennessee money perch. So Georgia, Tennessee, Florida, Florida State. And the names that are given is Clemson, Florida State, North Carolina, Virginia. This is not a surprise. I mean, this has come from the chatter behind the curtain as well. And Florida and Virginia Tech and North Carolina State. And again, I pushed back. I pushed on the question of is the SEC, could they get so aggressive that they try to completely put borders around Virginia, North Carolina? Although Duke would always be a Big Ten candidate. And he did not even talk about the Big Ten. He really did not talk about the Big Ten at all in this. Very little, I should say. This was an SEC-focused email. I think you can take away from the fact that Florida State is truly focusing on the SEC option. And the word that they are getting is, and I'm going to use our phrase, quick strike, less and less probable, but an SEC large scoop because of a more severe breakaway option that is growing. That is absolutely growing. And so I don't know. That's it. That's what we got. More information, but things that I cannot talk about. But it does sound like the SEC, according to the Florida State Money Perch, and we've always said this, a chatter behind the curtain. Whatever the Southeastern Conference does next is going to be transformative, just like when they took on Texas and Oklahoma. And while I'm not going to predict the SEC goes from 16 to 22 teams in the next 2 years. There's no way I'm going to say that, at least for now, unless we get some more connecting dots, which we might. It does sound like the SEC Big Scoop is becoming more and more of the chalk. And Florida State, Clemson, Virginia, North Carolina, possibly North Carolina State and Virginia State, Virginia Tech has to be included somehow, possibly. Again, he did not go too much into that after we pushed on him. But those 6 schools were listed more than once on this email. This is what the money perchers are talking about at this time. Less pressure on the quick strike, but there is a building pressure on a more of a severe breakaway. We've also asked them questions on, is that because of certain court rulings, local court rulings? And his answer was, all of the above, pretty general. But this is coming from more than one SEC quarter. In other words, this is coming from more than one group of SEC money purchase. This is coming from multiple ones. The ones that I can mention is Georgia, Tennessee, Florida. Those are the ones that I can mention. So, we do not have any more information on the hot bubble of action between North Carolina and the SEC. We do have the exact location of where it happened. We do not believe it included, it definitely included intermediaries, not the top level SEC or North Carolina, but very important people. We know the exact location. And if you want to go back to that map and you take a look at that circle, again, we're not able to tell you that information yet. But anyways, so that is our update. And we are going to open up the phone lines. We've been on the air for 1 hour, 19 minutes. I've been babbling. We are going to get your phone calls, your super chats, your comments, however you want, however you choose to communicate with us. The phone lines are now open. 763-260-1333. I was not expecting the Florida State Money Perch to say something to the effect of, well, the emergency meetings are not probably happening now. But yet there is this more severe breakaway that threat is growing, and that is coming from a whole lot of people in Southeastern Conference country. So buckle up. Buckle up. All right. You got Jose taking a shot at ESPN. Phone lines are open. 16 to 20 is a lot already for the Southeastern Conference. I would agree. Great travel blogs. The Big Ten has an earlier window for a bigger media deal in 2029, which means Big Ten strikes first. I don't know if they are going to end up having an earlier window. The SEC might move up their window, just like the Big 12. Remember, the Pac-12 had an earlier window than the Big 12, but they couldn't take advantage of it. And Ross Dellinger recently on the College Football Inquirer podcast, he did talk about an early look-in window that the SEC has with ESPN. I can't remember the year that he said. I want to say 2029, but I can't quite remember the year on that.
From
Mohr Simmons.
Mohr Simmons, thanks for calling. The floor is yours.
Yes, Greg. I was going to try to hold off and just wait for somebody to call in and see what they were going to say for us. This great reporting that you have put out.
They're all shy, Morris. They're all shy.
Yeah,
you go ahead. You lead us the way, baby.
Yeah, but you know what? I know you say you can't name the other schools, but I do know that there's more than just them three, for sure, because I have been putting out the other schools that I know for sure that Ben wanted Florida State for years to come in. As a matter of fact, Florida State plays them Tigers in Baton Rouge. We play them, a lot. And now we playing Alabama, and then we're going to be playing Georgia here pretty soon, up there in Tennessee and Nashville. And, of course, we play the Gators, and we have played Oklahoma in several bowl games. Oklahoma have came to Doak.
Yeah.
So, I mean, everything is lining up. At one point, hey, I was on the Big Ten bandwagon, but that right there look like something in the rearview window right now. That look like that ain't gonna happen. So right now I'm just waiting for the dominoes to fall, and I do believe when it do fall, it's gonna come without notice. It's just gonna be sprung on everybody. This is it, and move forward. And if it goes to court, it goes to court. Like I've been saying, several times on here, that these two conferences cannot sit back and wait. If they sit back and wait, and let's say for whatever reason, bill pass, momentum picks up, whatever the case may be, now you got to fight these outside entities that are trying to get into college football. And you have mentioned that. Yeah. You're going to always have Cody out there with his money that's going to be trying to influence things. So all that being said, these conferences going to have to make moves. Yes, it's going to be a super conference, but if they play around with it, now you leave the door open where you can have a potential super league, because the amount of money that would be out there and who will be approaching these universities, yes, that's a possibility. So you have to go on out here now and strike while the iron is hot. I understand the Big Ten don't have a pro rata. The SEC have a pro rata with ESPN. Now, my understanding is ESPN, the money they save off of the ACC, that's going to be coming in, because once they take what they have to take out of the ACC, there's no need in paying whatever they were paying to the ACC, because that ain't drawing no eyeballs. That conference is dead in the water. So now you get that money, and yes, you mentioned Netflix. Netflix come in and help ESPN, and that's more money. The bottom line, the SEC know what their value is. ESPN knows that they undervalue the just like they did the other conferences, pay them peanuts. ESPN gonna have to pay up some money, and they're gonna bring in Netflix to help them shore up the SEC. So my thing is, this is gonna go down. It's just a matter of when. Now, me personally, I probably say sometime by the end of this year, we will have an idea of what and what. And I'll probably say, I know for sure. I wouldn't say no for sure. It's a good bet that we'll probably be in the SEC in 2028. There's a good solid chance we will be in there in 2028. So that's the only thing I'm calling about.
All right.
Go Noles.
Go Noles. All right. Appreciate it, sir. Thank you, Morris Simmons. Beautiful call. The best speaking voice in all of PATC country. Man, if I had a voice like that, holy smoke. Morris just brought it up. Hold on.
From
Edward the Auburn Tiger.
Edward the Auburn Tiger, can you hold on for just a minute, please?
I sure can.
I want to get to a very generous super chat by Christopher Hooter, Purple and Gold, and then I just want to hit upon an article that came out today before we get to the legendary Edward the Auburn Tiger, Christopher Hooter. We've got a $5 holla. Christopher Hooter, 6 ACC to SEC equals 22 makes ESPN sense, but it does move the center of gravity more eastward after the last 4 old Big 12 ads, Missouri, ATM, Texas, and Oklahoma. Yeah, it would. You're right. It would move it more, the gravity more back eastward. Now, again, we're not reporting, I don't think the Florida State Money Perch is reporting that SEC is going to 22, but everything's become more likely in that direction because the breakaway threat is becoming more severe. If they're going to do it, it's going to be becoming more severe than first thought, because this is coming from the money purchase at SEC. Anyways, before we get to Edward the Auburn Tiger, thank you, Christopher Hooter. Thank you for the $5 holler. I appreciate your incredible generosity like always. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Hooter. We do have Netflix. This story, Netflix exploring Peacock add-on. More World Cup-like programming to stem engagement concerns. Wall Street Journal reports that Netflix wants more live programming to keep users on the platform. Live sport content remains king. Netflix, this was July 9th, Netflix could soon be even more aggressive in its pursuit of live sports rights as it fends off streaming competitors. It talks about how it wants more NFL. It talks about how it might absorb Peacock, NBC that whole situation. So I'm not going to read the whole article, but my goodness, Netflix is actively exploring bids for 2034 FIFA Men's World Cup. They saw all the viewership numbers, and if the SEC expands, how are you going to fit all those in ESPN windows? I'm just speculating here. We're just talking. And you know that Netflix would want to be aggressive on that, I believe. Go ahead, Edward, the Auburn Tiger. The floor is yours.
Greg, we thank you, sir, for another great show. Man, you are producing the news, sir, on the down low. We thank you for all that you're doing. Greg, you keep putting out this kind of news. I believe everybody in the PATC family is going to become an SEC fan. You cannot believe this.
I've been accused of being an SEC homer so much lately. Ladies and gentlemen, the fat guy from Minnesota who's got a big northern Minnesota accent, who's spent his whole life in the state of Minnesota. They're all evil, just like the evil Badgers, just like the evil Hawkeyes. Every SEC team is as evil as anybody else, except for the glorious Golden Gophers. So I just want to get that out there. I want that rumor to be stopped. I am not an SEC lover. I'm not a hater, but I'm not a lover. Go ahead, Edward. Go ahead, sir. The floor is yours.
I'm going to give you a light lean there, Greg. Listen, there's an expression that everyone says is that timing is everything.
Yes.
And man, you just cannot make this up. I mean, why did that article come out? I mean, Netflix has to change their entire model and how they do business. Mm-hmm. And so they are in a very, very aggressive posture. Here you have the SECs who beautifully, the Florida State money perch, who you said is, I'm paraphrasing what you said, who you call money. He's precise in his predictions. He is accurate in terms of what he puts out. If he puts something out, it's with much planning, it's with much thought, it's with much precision in what he does. Like I said, I've been going back listening what you said about him through the letters, and you have a lot of respect for this man.
Yeah. And
now we're hearing that there's other money purchase within the SEC echoing the same sentiments. You're naming key figures. You said Georgia. I believe you said Florida. I think you said Tennessee. Just to name a few schools that's part of this major extreme breakaway. Here you have, once again, ESPN. I believe they're already in early negotiations with ESPN and maybe Netflix. A lot of people don't realize that I think Mr. Williams, I forgot what title he had, but this, if I said his name, but I forgot his name. But this gentleman said that the window for the ESPN NFL early negotiations is not until 2031. Mm-hmm. Which means, that's a life cycle when it comes to media, and so they can get SEC all buttoned up, suited up with a new reimagined landmark media deal, and now you're talking about these 6 teams that they're talking about adding. Once again, it seems to be coming through various money purchases. That's what I kept hearing in your dissertation concerning the money purchase. There's not just him. But there's various other money purchase, talking other money purchase, all echoing these same things about Breakaway, about these teams being added. Now you're hearing about Netflix. We're finding out about ESPN and the NFL, which ESPN doesn't have to worry about anything because the NFL owes 10% of ESPN, so they're guaranteed inventory of NFL. So they're not sweating it like Fox and like CBS and like NBC. And like Amazon Prime, they're sitting in the catbird seat when it comes to that. And then also one thing I liked about this article that you're reading today, kind of you suffered from, is the anger in the SEC. Now, I'm not all knowing. I do live here in SEC country, but it's real, Greg. It is real. Mm-hmm. They are tired. They're mad. They're upset. And I believe this man is echoing the temperature down here. And you're talking about adding these 6 schools. You're talking about the political cover, adding NC State and North Carolina,
well,
Virginia, and Virginia Tech.
He didn't say. I mean, he didn't come out and say that.
He didn't come out and say it.
No, he didn't. But he just said there's a potential of that happening. Yeah.
Yeah, the potential. Yeah. But what if it did? You're talking about no political blowback in those states. Yeah. I mean, you can see the governor, you can see the board of trustees, you can see all the important people getting on board of 2 teams from their state going to the SEC. So when you look back at all this, Greg, mm-hmm. man, it is an amazing story how this is coming together, and they're going to use this bill as a reason to facilitate this, which is going to give it more political cover because everybody has a problem with this bill, and they're not going to really blame the SEC for taking such an extreme breakaway position because of this bill. And it is the timing. It is the timing. I'm like Mr. Simmons there. I don't think it'll be a quick strike based on what you said, but I still believe it's going to hit that 2028 window where these teams are going to be added. The media deal is going to be done, and everything is going to be activated because if they're talking about breakaway, they're making decisions. Not I guess they're not really. They're focused, but they're not focused on what's happening in Chicago. And I have to believe, Greg, that Sankey, these presidents are looking at numbers. They're looking at projections. They're looking at ratings. They're looking at influence within the country. They're looking at all these things. And those numbers and the results they're finding has to tell them that the SEC will be far better in a total breakaway than staying attached to the NCAA and the rest of these schools. I have to believe that because if you don't get to this place making irrational decisions, you make well thought out, well plotted out, well discussed decisions, and I believe we're at that stage. But I want to say thank you, sir, for the job that you've done and that you continue to do. And you are in the middle of the road for the most part. You're still a Big Ten man, but for the most part, you do try to represent everybody on your show.
I'm a Golden Gopher fan. I'm not a Big Ten man. Big Ten is evil as the SEC. Golden Gophers is the only entity that is elevated above all of you, and that includes the evil Auburn Tigers, War Eagle. Thank you, Edward the Auburn Tiger.
I got one more thing, Greg. What are you going to do when they ring the bells in Minnesota when them Bulldogs come in there? What you going to do about that, Greg? Because they're coming.
You want the honest truth? I was pretty good. I've been pretty confident, right? Pretty confident. And then I watched one of these YouTube channels that showed Mississippi State, Minnesota simulation game, EA Sports 2027. And they showed the simulation game, and of course I'm watching it like it was real live. And the game went into overtime. And Mississippi State won, I want to say 32-20, whatever. Mississippi State won in 2 overtimes. And I got so upset. And then I started to panic because that Mississippi State quarterback, just like I said earlier in the offseason, the one thing I'm worried about is that guy breaking off big runs against the Gophers because we're going to sack him. We're going to get to him. We got a great pass rush. We did last year. We're going to have a better one this year. But he's going to break out big runs. And sure enough, in that simulation game, he was breaking out big runs. He was killing us. So now I'm starting to panic a little bit to answer your question.
Well, they're going to be sneaky good, Greg, but I also think Minnesota is going to be better than people think. I think your coach is doing a great job up there.
Yeah.
That team plays hard. They play gritty. They're blue collar in how they do things.
Yeah.
And he's done more with that talent and that team than most people could believe. So I think
Yeah.
you guys are going to be fine, Greg.
Yeah.
But the bells are going to be ringing.
Yeah. I'm not going to be there. I'm going to be in the studio doing a watch party.
You're not going to be there. Okay.
Let's go.
We might have to sing you the cowbells, Greg.
Yeah. All right.
Well, Greg, thank you for everything you do, sir. God bless
I
you.
appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Whoops. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. And again,
Call from
Dave in Tampa.
Dave from Tampa, can you hold on for a moment, please?
Yes, I can.
I appreciate it. And again, the week of that Gopher Hell State Bulldogs game, I'm going to be on Alabama radio with the great one, Stephen Stingray, good friend of mine. We've been friends for a long time. I'm going to be on his radio show. I was on his radio show once before. So I will give you more specific information on when that exactly is going to happen. The week of the Gopher Bulldog game, I'll be on Alabama radio. Before we get to Dave in Tampa, I do want to have, holy smokes, massive super chat, OPD done. Holy smokes, OP. Wow. Unbelievable. OBD done, the purple and gold. So 4 football schools covering North Carolina and Virginia schools. And UNC Virginia covering the football schools. Virginia Tech, North Carolina State, Florida State, Clemson. I think that is OPD Dunn's way of saying blend. To be honest, North Carolina State covers North Carolina politically. Virginia Tech covers Virginia politically. And Florida State, Clemson covers ESPN. Netflix has a lot to choose from. Remember, June 1st, 2027, the 12th month window has arrived. Now again, OBD done. Thank you for the massive super chat. I do appreciate it. I appreciate your incredible generosity. Unbelievable, helping us keep the lights on, grow the channel. You have done so much for us, Obi. I could never, ever return you the favor. Thank you so very much. Having said that, Mr. Purple and Gold, June 1st, 2027, on or before June 1st, 2027, you could, if something happens, if the Southeastern Conference gets so upset, they're going to do the breakaway. They don't care about the backlash, the political backlash. They're just going to do it. They could end up being people filing before June 1st, 2027. But then again, they would not be able to join the SEC until July 1st of 2028. Right now, that is the earliest according to the ACC process. I also would say to OPD Dunn and Edward the Auburn Tiger, before we get to Dave in Tampa, I got a feeling that the Florida State Money Perch and information that has been going around the money perches down in southeastern part of the country, I'm speculating. Opie, everybody else, I'm speculating. All right? I'm speculating. This, hopefully it's an educated speculation. But I got a feeling
Fire up, baby.
that there is some decisions have been made in and around the SECs in how they're going to do the silo. Like they're starting to mark off the boxes, right? This is how we're going to do this. This is how we're going to do this. This is how we're going to do this. This is going to work. This is going to work. This is going to work. We think this is going to work. And that's why there is more of an aggressive talking that is going on among the money purchasers. That is my speculation. Hopefully it's an educated speculation. Thank you so much, OPD Don. Dave in Tampa, can you wait one more moment here? I forgot a super chat from a very generous base Geron. I highly doubt ESPN allows Florida State and Miami rivalry either go away completely or go over to Fox. I think you're probably correct on that. I don't think ESPN is going to let that rivalry go over to Fox, and they're probably not going to let it go away either. I absolutely agree with you, Base Juron. I appreciate the $5 holler. Thank you so very much. Thank you, OPD Dunn. Dave from Tampa, thank you for your patience. The floor is absolutely yours.
Hey, thanks for taking my call, Greg.
You got it. Thanks for your patience. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's more stuff comes out about all this realignment or whatever. Whether we get there in 2 years from now, or 7 years from now, whatever it's going to be, when all the contracts are going to be done. They can decide to renegotiate a contract anytime they want. The two parties, they can do that anytime they want. So that, to me, means absolutely nothing, especially when there's going to be big money involved and you negotiate contract to make more money. Doggone right you're going to do it. That's just good business. But one way or another, we're getting there. It may get pushed forward. It may continue on the timeline that was desired.
Now, I'm just going to step in for a moment. The media companies do not like to renegotiate before their look-ins or before their exclusive windows, because they're paying. They believe they're paying a premium price, and the length of the contract. The further that length of the contract goes out, the more money they make out the contract. So they don't like to renegotiate. And the ACC is a good example. They've got this Tier 1 contract that goes out forever. It goes out to 2036. And ESPN has not lifted a finger to renegotiate that contract. But they're probably willing to do it with the SEC. I just want to throw that in there. Go ahead, Dave. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, they might not have a choice either. If Congress goes through with this, if somehow it goes through, I'm not sure that it ever even gets voted. It's not going to get. I don't think it's going to get voted on before they go to summer recess. I don't see that happening. I mean, you're talking like the 13th? They got to do something. That's like what, Monday? I don't see that happening. It doesn't seem to be any smoke on that. I think they're going to kick the can far down the road because there's a whole political game being played here outside of the topic that we're talking about. Okay, that's something you have to take that into consideration here, folks. Okay, there is a political situation right now dealing with the Senate and the president, and the Senate doesn't want to do it, and they're just using college football. We're just being used. Pardon the analogy, but we're just a political football. Mm-hmm. We're just a political football right now, and one way or another, we're getting there. And if Congress even brings this to the floor for a vote, I'd be surprised, because that's a whole different thing than the Senate. And they got their own thing going on down in the House and what's going on up in the Senate. I almost don't even see anything even happening in this thing the rest of this year. And if it doesn't get done this year, they ain't going to care after the midterms. They're not going to care. After midterms, they're not going to care because they've accomplished their political goal, and they use college football to do it. So we're just being used. We're literally a political football, and that was interesting. That Mohr super chat that he had earlier. It was like, see, the more you dig in, it just starts getting murky, and you're leaving the confines of college football, right? We're getting into people's personal lives. We're getting into political stuff. It just starts getting murky, and just I doubt if they can even get their act together. No pun intended. But yeah, I'm glad you're on tonight, brother, and love your show. You have great knowledge of what's going on behind the scenes, and I don't know if anybody saw. Change the subject here. But I don't know if anybody saw Rock and Rant's College Football Express on the conference realignment and how he saw it. And I mean, his idea on that is exactly what I've been thinking. And if it only ends up at 24, man, there's going to be a lot they're going to get left out. You know. Yep. At 24. Even if you go, both conferences go 24. There's a lot. There's going to be some stuff that nobody's going to like. I don't want to see Louisville get left out, man. I don't want to see Louisville get left out. I want to see Cincinnati get left out, or Pittsburgh, or I don't want to see them get. I don't want to see Wake Forest. I don't want to see Washington State and Oregon State. But I mean, be honest with yourself. Does anybody see a pathway for them to make it back into the Power 2 or Power 4 or whatever it's going to be? Maybe we get to keep a Power 4. That would be nice, but I just don't see it happening.
If I had to take a wild guess, complete speculation, I think if we did get to these two super conferences where they end up going more than 20. I think the economic consolidation would push a third conference, best of the rest. Best, when I say best of the rest, the more value of the rest of the schools. I think economic consolidation will keep happening, and among the G6 conferences as well. Realignment never sleeps. It's not going to stop. Potentially in the years ahead, we'll have fracture of these big conferences. We'll go on and on and on, sir. But go ahead. I'll give you the last word.
No, you're absolutely 100% correct, and it's just going to go on and on and on. And like I've said, one way or another, we're going to get there. I believe. Mm-hmm. And the best. When anybody says best of the rest, I just kind of think of Notre Dame and a group of with Notre Dame of like independents being in the kind of schedule with one group of kind of the way Notre Dame does now with the ACC, and they could find themselves in the exact type of situation with. The only thing is they would be able to actually play for the championship or the. I think one of the things, I have something great. Something not to drag this phone call on anymore, but it made me think of something just now that oh shoot, I forgot. I was going somewhere with that, and it went. Yeah. But yeah, it's not going to stop, and I'm here for it. So however we'll get there, and just college football will be fine. It'll survive one way or another and keep going, and it'll still be fun. We'll gives us something to occupy our minds with other than all the other stuff that's going on. So
Yeah.
everybody have a great weekend, and thanks for taking my call.
I appreciate it, Dave from Tampa. Beautiful. I do want to thank the great phone calls that we have received tonight once again. Those who have donated to our program to help us keep the lights on and grow the channel. Evil Badger, Curtis, Mohr After Dark, MBM, Christopher Hooter, Base Juron, and OPD Don. Massive super chat. Thank you guys. Guys and gals, thank you for joining us today on July 10th, Friday. Again, we did a spotlight on the James Madison Dukes. And while I think they're going to compete for the Sun Belt Conference Championship along with Troy, I just do not see them in the college football playoffs this year. Ayrton, Maiden, or Camden Coleman, who's going to be the starting quarterback for James Madison? We know that George Pettaway is going to be RB1. We know that Braden Woloski is going to be the top wide receiver target, at least at the beginning of the season. And Amar Thomas seems to be just scratching the surface, could dominate Sun Belt Conference football this year. The regular season, they start out against Liberty. They're on the road to San Diego State. I do think they're going to hit a roadblock at San Diego State and Snapdragon Stadium. Then on the road to Old Dominion. They do play Troy on October 29th, UConn on November 14th. I don't think James Madison's going to get there. I don't think they're going to get there. Billy Napier, the first-year head coach at James Madison, going to be interesting. He did a great job with Louisiana. We'll see what he does with James Madison. We did the Money Perch update, Florida State. If you missed it, go back and give it a watch. Pretty interesting information. A lot of information. Again, I don't think this is going to be the last update that we get from the Florida State Money Perch. And this involves other money perches in the southeastern part of this great country of ours. So go back and give it a watch. And again, we did put episode 512 out there. 512. Go check it out. Go to our library of episodes. If you missed it, go watch it. I tell you, a snake in the Big Ten's long grass. If you don't know what I'm talking about, make sure you check out episode 512. I want to thank you all for joining us. Again, we'll be coming on live tomorrow, Saturday, July 11th. And the spotlight is going to be squarely on, you guessed it, East Carolina Pirates of the American. Now, East Carolina lost their starting quarterback. However, East Carolina's got some talent. And I think they're going to make some noise in the American. They might make that run. They might make that run all the way to the college football playoffs. I can't wait. The spotlight continues. We have got 8 more teams, and then we're done with the spotlight for 2026. Then we're going to circle back and make our final prediction of order of finish prediction among all the conferences. We'll give you our update Heisman watch. We'll give you our update update hot seat coaches list. We're going to do it all at the end of July, and in August, we are going to cover, of course, realignment and all the legal cases. We are going to cover August camp and football across the country, and then we're going to be doing more watch parties than anybody else in college football YouTube country. Why? Because we cover everything in college football, because we love everything in college football. Before you leave, subscribe to our channel, smash the like button if you like our content, share the video with your family and friends. Do not forget to ring the notification bell. Until next time, from all of us at PATC, to all of you, please Please, y'all, take great care of each other. Thank you so very much. And as always, God, family,